Hey, everybody, get ready. Get ready for podcast fun to happen. Everybody get your feelings out.
Hey.
Hey. I'm going to take this inhaler puff, Tony, and then we're going to podcast.
Can we podcast during the inhaler puff?
It's hard for me to talk.
It's already started.
Just die. It is Sunday, June 28th, 2020, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions Podcast. I am Alex O'Neill, your host for this podcasting adventure, and joining me this week we have Mr. Scott Guthier.
Hello.
And also Mr. Tony Horvath.
Hey.
And that's it. It's just us. We missed last week. We're down Brian Nobishan Jackson. Unfortunately, he's at a funeral right now. And that's it. We're here. We're back. We're ready to talk about video games. Apologies for missing last week. I was not in the mood to podcast, but I'm always in the mood to podcast again. And we've returned. And it's us. It's the when Dad's away, the boys will play group. And Tony, you promised me video games today, so
Hell yeah!
I
played one that you will never expect, but Scott will because we talked about it yesterday.
Okay. I played one that maybe you won't expect too, and I'm excited to finally have finished it and be able to talk about it. But we're about to talk about some video games. You can always join us live, typically Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube to talk about video games in Irrational Passions podcast format, which is to say loosey-goosey. And then up YouTube or on podcast services on Tuesday, I actually managed to record. I was going to have Logan Moore on this week, but he couldn't record Sunday. So earlier in the week, I recorded a little conversation about The Last of Us with Logan Moore that is full of spoilers because I want to have some spoiler something up. It's going to be at the end of the podcast. And then I actually, before the podcast started, talked a whole bunch about The Last of Us with Tony and Scott, which I didn't expect to do. Yep. I didn't know you guys would know what's up. But yeah, a lot of different Last of Us opinions in my head right now. But that's going to be only on the audio version of the show because I don't know how to do that on video. But look forward to that. How were you guys last week? We had the week off. Did you guys do anything over the weekend? Did you start yelling at people? Did you go out on your yards and shave your heads? Like anything?
None of those things.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no.
I hid inside.
I hid inside too.
As I do every day.
It's the mood. I think that's what the kids are saying. All right, then let's just talk about some video games. I don't necessarily have a lot of housekeeping to go through. I do want to mention because it happened. George Cruz, everybody knows him, everybody loves him. No longer with IrrationalPassions.com. He's hired by Pop Agenda. He's doing PR for video games now. I'm very proud of him. He's going to be there for the summer, so depending on what happens next, we might hear from him again soon. But I just want to say I'm really proud of George. Obviously, he's been on the show a lot. He's been with IP for 4 years now. He's a very sweet boy, and I'm very proud of him. Often, he's talking about bug snacks now.
Hell yeah!
That's his shtick. So, yeah, him actually doing PR for Bug Snacks while Bug Snacks is huge right now is super cool. So if you at jcruzalvarez26 on Twitter if you want to send him a congrats if you hadn't heard yet. But yeah, now that's housekeeping aside. Let's talk about video games. Tony, what you been playing?
Well, I've been playing some Path of Exile.
Nice. Did the new season start?
Yeah, it's about a week and a half in now.
Okay.
It's Friday of last week was when the league began. So not this past Friday, but the one before. And it's been a good league. I was extremely lucky this league.
Okay.
Basically, the second most expensive armor or item, I guess, in the game dropped for me this league.
Just like right away?
Basically... I don't know, maybe 4 days into the league.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's this insanely good belt that when you kill an enemy, you know how in Diablo, enemies as you get into higher difficulties have a certain amount of modifiers that attach to them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So some will be a freezing enemy, and they'll they'll try and put these cold things out and stuff like that. Path of Exile works pretty similarly. And this belt says that when I kill a rare enemy, so a yellow one that has those modifiers, I get to steal all of its modifiers for 20 seconds.
Whoa.
So imagine killing like 40 dudes within 20 seconds of each other and stealing all of their modifiers.
Oh, so it stacks.
Everything stacks.
Oh my god.
So you can become fucking crazy.
That's actually really awesome.
Because some of the modifiers are like, just increase your attack speed by a lot, or like increase your size and also like double your HP and a bunch of other stuff. So by the end of by when you've stacked enough modifiers, you have like 20 modifiers on or whatever, your character's as big as the entire screen.
Jesus.
You attack faster than you can humanly see, have infinite resources, and do massive damage.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking cool.
That's pretty good. That's a good like Diablo-esque item. Like that's a top tier right there.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's the most overpowered item in the game for sure.
Yeah. I can't imagine something on top of that.
Like situationally, it's not as good as some other items because like if you're just fighting one boss and you're not stealing modifiers from anything, like it's not that great.
Yeah,
it doesn't do anything, But for just generally playing the game, putting that on your character makes it so ridiculous if your character can make use of it.
Is that
my character?
You go ahead.
Is built to clear maps really fast, even without that belt. So being able to fit it into the build makes me like god tier. Is
like, I haven't played a lot of Path of Exile. I've played a very little bit of it, but is it like a lot of like mobs? Is it mostly mob just clearing maps and mob clearing, or is there a lot of like boss?
I mean, if you think of like a greater rift in Diablo.
Yeah, that's
pretty similar to a map.
Okay.
And once you've completed like the it's built like Diablo 2.
Okay.
With a different skill system. And then the end game mapping system is just a much more in-depth greater rift system that isn't just a leaderboard.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I mean there is a bunch of you're running around clearing packs of mobs, and then eventually you get to the end of the zone. It's not a progress meter. You just get to the arena at the end of the zone, and there's a boss in there based on whatever map you're doing. So there's like 100 different bosses, and it's dependent on whatever map you did. Basically, each map is a different tile set, and they're randomly generated, based on whatever you go in. So if there's a tile set that generates good corridors and stuff that you want, that might be a good map to run a bunch of. And there's a lot of stuff like that. It's like I said, it's a lot more in depth than just picking, opening a tier X number greater rift, going in and clearing it as fast as you can.
Yeah.
But in broad strokes, yeah, it's a lot of the same gameplay as what you'd expect in like Diablo or Diablo clone type game.
That's cool though. Like I like the idea of those maps being a lot more complex.
Yeah, this league, the mechanic was really broken for a while, and I made a ton of money doing crafting with the league mechanic before it got really popular to do this certain type of crafting on Reddit. Somebody posted it, and then everybody was doing it. And that's not how in-game economies work. That's how items get real cheap.
Yep.
So. But yeah, I made a ton of money in the first like 4 days, and then dropped this 60x helmet or belt. Yeah, so that I wouldn't even have gotten otherwise. Like that's kind of like the Headhunter belt, which is the belt, is kind of like the end game grind. Like if you have fully finished your build, you could grind and spend your money on a Headhunter at that point, just because it's like an end game goal. So getting one to drop for you in the first like 4 days of the league is crazy.
And it was like a drop from an enemy, right? Just a loot drop.
So there's a mechanic in the game called the Bestiary, where randomly in maps, Einhar, this guy will show up and he'll be like, "What's up, dude? Let's go on a hunt." And there'll be like 4 to 6 monsters that Einhar wants on the map. One of them will be a red one, or 1 or 2 of them will be a red one. And you damage them when they get to 1 HP. Einhar captures them and sends them off to his menagerie. Then you go to the menagerie and you can use them for special recipes of beasts called beast crafting. And depending on the specific beast that you found in the map, it could be a different type of craft. So one of them is create a random unique belt, which most of the time gives you fucking garbage. And I always do these, and it's by the end of the league, you've spent like 4 or 5 hours just doing these for useless uniques. And I've done it. I do it every league, and I always feel like I'm wasting my time. And then
But this
league, I
time it
have to
paid
do
off,
it.
Tony.
Yeah,
It was
Lionheart
all-
delivered me the headhunter.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's way funner, I think, if you get that, or way more fun if you get that like
Yeah.
early on, so that way you can play the league with it and just like wreck and have fun.
Yeah, like it's the kind of item where you either use it in your build or you sell it and build whatever fucking crazy meme builds you feel like building for the entire rest of the league.
Yeah, totally.
And this league in particular has been a lot more satisfying for me because I've built my own build this league. I didn't follow anyone's guide or anything like that. And I'm using a skill that only like 4 or 5 other people in the league that are at least, well, any ranked people anyway. So in like the top 15,000 players, only like 4 other people are using it. So I'm one of 5 people who picked to use this build. All of our builds are completely different because it's a niche enough build that no one has written a guide for how to play this skill in like 4 years. So everything's outdated, and if you want to play the skill, you have to make it yourself. So I went and made it myself, and that's so much more satisfying than just picking out a guide and doing whatever. The skill that I'm using also has specific requirements to allow it to actually even function as a main skill, because it's not intended to be a main damage skill. It's a travel skill, so like blink kind of effect type thing. The skill basically teleports you on top of an enemy and you hit it with your weapon, and that's the skill. And gain 10% movement speed after. So the idea is, someone who's using a slam attack or something would use it to flicker onto the enemy and then attack them once and then use their regular skill. So they'd use it as their between mobs thing. I use it as my main attack.
Nice.
Which means that I attack with these teleportation effects at Mach 10 speed that teleport me to the enemy that I'm attacking. And the nice thing about the gem is if you are not targeting something with your mouse, when you click it, it will seek the closest nearby enemy to the mouse randomly. So I can just put the mouse in the direction of lots of enemies and hold the button, and I will go Mach 10 zooming around the screen, killing everything by teleporting to it, smacking them in the face with my goddamn sword.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's such a fun skill. So being able to like basically, but the limiting factor is that there's a billion mechanics in Path of Exile. One of them is frenzy charges. You gain them when you fulfill certain conditions or items say that you get them. And they give you more damage and increased attack and cast speed to up to a cap of how many charges you can get. And that can be increased with your passive tree, blah, blah, blah. But the idea is with Flicker Strike, it has a like 8-second or 2-second cooldown between when you'd be able to use it, but you can ignore the cooldown if you instead spend a frenzy charge. So the game of this build is finding a sustainable way to make it so every time I hit, I gain a new frenzy charge, or at least enough times so that I never run out of my stack of 7 frenzy charges.
Dang.
And, I'm attacking 9 or 10 times in a second.
Yeah, you're just warping between enemies, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you have to, the build is, the idea behind the build is to, 1, secure enough damage to kill the content, and 2, make sure that I can sustain my skill, because I don't just get to spam it without a cost for it. Plus, it also costs mana, so I have to figure out a way to generate mana at a significantly higher ratio than any other build would usually need you to. Because I'm attacking like 13 times for every 1 time another build would attack. So it's cool. It's been a lot of fun figuring that out and going in depth and figuring that stuff out. It's the kind of thing you'd only get in Path of Exile.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
This kind of thing in Diablo 3 especially would be like, is there a green set that lets you do this?
Yeah.
No? All right, see ya.
Yeah, I guess dreams die.
Yeah, if they made a green set that lets you do it, you're locked into those 6 items. And I guess figure out 3 other items. I don't know.
Are you gonna toward the end of the league? Do you think you'd put up the build to see if anybody wants to try it?
I am not that dedicated to write the massive fucking guide. You should see a Path of Exile build guide.
Sure.
And then you would understand why it is not worth it for me to do that. People will write 25,000 plus words of a guide and explain every stat on every item, and I could do that. Like, I could write that. I don't have the knowledge of the game myself to make it to make sure to know that I'm making the right calls
Yeah.
and want to recommend it to someone to spend their currency on.
Yeah.
And also, my build is so ludicrously expensive that it is almost unattainable for most players.
Just makes it more special to him.
Right. It's the most expensive belt in the game. It is the most expensive main hand weapon in the game. The other weapon, because it's only a one-handed weapon, still the most expensive one in the game. The other one is still 4 exalts for the other weapon. The armor is another 8 exalts. You need a specific flask that is the most expensive flask in the game, another 10 exalts. And the specific because the build is 7 out of 9 items are uniques, which uniques have set stats and you don't make them yourself. It's really hard to meet certain other requirements of things you need, like resistances, because of the way damage works in Path of Exile. I'm not going to get into this, but let's just say you have to have capped resistances or you will fucking die.
Got it.
5% off of capped resistances is 40% more damage taken. So you have to have capped resistances. Most of the time, that's obtainable through your rare items, because you can craft high numbers of resistance onto those items. My build only has non-unique rings. That's it. Every other piece is unique, so I can't change what's on it. And most builds that would build like this don't have a headhunter, which does not have any elemental resistances on it in the belt slot, which is huge. Most builds in the whole game run a triple resistance belt with life on it. So 4 out of your 6 rolls in your belt are just life, resistance, 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 and then 2 other rolls. My belt has no resistance on it. So in only 2 slots, because all my other slots are filled with uniques, I have to reach 75% on all of the resistances. Well, really, it's 125% on all resistances, because the way that as you progress through story, the main story boss permanently curses you and reduces your max resistances twice by 25%.
Jeez.
So you have to build 125% total resistance by the time you are at endgame to have capped resistances. So doing that on only 2 items is really fucking difficult.
Yeah, I bet.
And my class selection was specifically tuned to help that be possible. And I'm not going to get any further into this. Path of Exile is fucking deep. There's reasons for everything, and it's fucking rad.
I love
when
it,
you
though.
do yourself.
I do like it. I appreciate the detail.
Yeah.
And I also,
so anyway,
I get not wanting to put it up. If I don't want to fuck something up, and I'm gonna put it up, I'm gonna put all the work into it, and not wanting to put all the. I totally get that.
yeah, it's so this kind of build is something that it's kind of like a labor of love kind of thing. If you are just looking for a build to play, this is not the right build for you to play. If you are specific, and you can kind of tell that because nobody has tried to make these kind of builds before. And there's always 2 or 3 people each league that'll make a build similar to this one with this skill, and to varying degrees of success. But it's always different. There are 4 people playing at this league, and all of us are so completely different in our builds. It's pretty cool. So
that's cool. I really like that. I like that all these years of Path of Exile has built to this.
Yeah. The shitty part is that the league mechanic kind of sucks. So a lot of my people who I would usually play Path of Exile with aren't playing right now.
I mean, of course.
In the league that I got super lucky. But yeah. It's my build's worth, for anyone listening that knows Path of Exile, my build is worth more than 100 exalts right now.
Jeez.
Which is insane.
It seems like a lot.
There's a ring that I need to build that will itself be worth more than the entire rest of my build if I'm able to craft it.
Damn.
Because it has to be so specifically good. And anyway, Path of Exile, I played that. Played some League of Legends.
Nice.
It's been 2 weeks
Yeah.
since we talked about League of Legends.
Yeah, you were climbing the ladders, right?
I reached Diamond, and then I stopped playing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I'm in the top, I don't know, 3% of the North American ladder now.
Jesus, man.
Which is pretty cool.
Do you feel now, 10 years later, I'll ask you this again, do you feel like you're pretty good at League of Legends?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. When you hit Diamond, that's when the point where you can kind of say hey, I'm pretty good at League of Legends.
Yeah.
But it's
do
it's
you want
to
be proud of that?
The picture. No, it's not that. It's that picture where it's shows an iceberg. There's a little bit of it sticking out at the top.
Yeah.
And then a massive amount of iceberg underwater.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just part of that underwater thing near the surface.
Yeah.
And then there's still that whole peak of people above the surface in in Master League. And really Diamond 4 is not a huge accomplishment because it's kind of like the bottom of the good league,
Yeah.
I haven't played a lot of games in the good league yet. So we'll see. We'll see. I think that when you get past Diamond to Master, that's when you can really say like I'm good at this game.
You're the worst of the best.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I'm pretty comfortable with saying that of the people that are good at League of Legends, I am among the worst of them.
I like that.
But then there are, the entire other 97% of the player base that are all lower than that.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, of course. You've stepped on these plebs beneath you, but
Yeah.
still, there's
I'm like peeking my head out of the water, looking at the rest of the little part of the iceberg at the
all
top.
the cool kids at the top and all that.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Getting there doesn't actually give you really anything at all to speak of, so it's more of just hey, I did it.
So so next year are you gonna do Diamond 3?
I don't know if I'm gonna do it again.
Oh, was it bad?
It was just getting to Plat 1, which is the rank right before, wasn't too bad. I did it in 80 games, I guess. And throughout those 80 games, I had a 95% win rate. I just played 2 junglers, Kane and Master Yi, and I just abused Master Yi in 1v9 games in silver and gold elo, all the way up to Plat 1. It was really easy. Then when you get when you win that many games while you're climbing, your elo shoots up way higher than it should be, or than it is for your actual rank anyway.
Got it.
So when I was in Plat 1, all of my games I was the only platinum player in it, and everyone else was Diamond 4, Diamond 3, Diamond 2, Diamond 1, that kind of thing. So my experience in Platinum 1 getting those was another 55 games or something before I finally won enough to promote the last little tier. So
yeah,
I think overall my win rate on this season so far is still 75%, which is really good.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of games, and I don't think that I am good enough to make it to Master, so I don't really want to spend a ton of time doing that when I have so many other games I would like to play.
Totally. I know, I just know that you, when you're not playing other stuff, you go back to League, so.
Yeah. I think that regardless of what I say about it now, next year will probably come a time where it'll just be hey, I'm playing ranked this week. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Just like the last 2 years and this year.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's rough. That's what, 135 games in a couple weeks?
Yeah, 2.5 weeks, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less than 2 weeks. I don't remember how long I was playing.
It's a lot of League of Legends.
It was a lot of League of Legends. It was a lot of late nights playing League of Legends.
Yeah, I get it. What else you got, man?
So let's see. Path and League. Really, Path was the huge thing that I wanted to do once I stopped. I got to Diamond the day after the Path of Exile League started. I was trying to get there the day before,
Yeah.
So I'd be able to play that. But other than that, I've been playing some other small stuff just with some friends. We played some Terraria, did a bunch of stuff like that. But the one other game I want to talk about, I picked up yesterday, Moonlighter.
Nice.
Yeah, so that game is pretty sweet.
That game's dope, right?
Yeah, I picked it up with low expectations. Just it seemed kind of cool, and it was on sale on Steam.
You got the expansion as well, I assume?
I think so. I bought it, but I don't know if I've encountered anything from it yet.
Yeah. I didn't know there was an expansion coming, so now I've seen that there is one out there. I want to go back and play it again.
Yeah, so I started, and I am I've beaten the first 2 bosses.
Cool.
The first 2 real bosses, not floor bosses. And yeah, that game's fun.
That game's so fun.
My item shop is killing it.
Yep. Anytime you nail the right price, you get it perfect, you're like, yes.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't really care about that, so I just looked up a spreadsheet that had the perfect prices on it.
Okay, I like that. I like the trial and error of it. But it's fun, running the shop and hitting the dudes that try to steal stuff. And
yeah, there was this game that they showed off at the PC gaming show that I've been waiting to come out, and I always forget the name of it. But it's I'll have to look it up so I can tell you what the name is. But they just announced it at the PC Gaming Show this year.
Okay.
And it kind of has that reciteer type vibe where you're running a shop for adventurers kind of thing. And I was looking for something like that because that game is no release date yet. It's just us coming soon.
Yeah.
You know. So I was like, I want to play a game like that, and that's what led me to find Moonlighter. And
Yeah.
that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's one of the ones where like I think you definitely dig it. I think you'll probably burn through it by the time next podcast comes around. You'll be done with it.
Probably, yeah.
But it's fun while it lasts, you know.
Yeah, the game is called Potionomics, and I'm very much looking forward to that game.
Oh.
And I think it is a game that you would probably really like. I don't know if you watched the PC Gaming Show, Alex.
I did not. I missed that one.
There was a lot of cool stuff there. That Potionomics was among them.
Okay, I'll put it on my radar for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else on Moonlighter?
No, I mean it's a pretty fucking cool game. I like the Binding of Isaac vibe. Oh, what main weapon are you using?
Yeah,
Did you use
that's what I was gonna ask you. I used I think for the most of it, I used like the little fists.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not complete opposite. I'm using the Big Buster Sword.
Very nice. I might have switched to the Big Buster Sword at the end because it just does so much damage.
Yeah, it's the massive damage, slow attacks. When I first started playing it, I was kind of put off because the movement was a little bit looser than I wanted it to be.
Sure.
And so to combat that, I was like, okay, I need to pick something that doesn't require fine movements.
Yeah.
And something that I can still be mobile while being tanky, because I'm going to take some more hits than I would like to in this game.
Yeah.
And the roll is like a little bit shorter than I want it to be.
Totally. Yeah.
Which causes me to miss roll a lot. Well, at least I used to while I was getting used to it. So the learning curve was kind of like artificially high, just because the mechanics of the game were just slightly out of sync with what I was expecting them to be.
Yeah, I went through the same thing.
Yeah, you know, like when you first start playing like Super Meat Boy and you're like, oh, this feels right.
Yes.
You know, it's like, imagine that, but everything is just like a little bit off.
Yes. It's a very good way to put it.
Yeah. So that, like, to combat that, I was like, okay, I'm going to pick the middle of the road armor that gives me some armor but doesn't cost me speed, rather than the one that gives speed at the cost of armor.
Yes.
Or the one that gives more armor at the cost of speed. I'm going to pick the middle one, and then I'm going to take the big-ass sword that does a lot of damage slowly, because I feel like I can place my hits well, but I'm not sure if I'd be able to move myself to be in the right spot to always shoot people the right way with a bow, or if I'd be able to effectively fight in close quarters with the short sword and shield. I just really didn't like the shield, to be honest.
Yeah, the shield.
I never used it, really, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing with the spear. The big sword just kind of felt right to me. So.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I used the knuckles for a while. I'm starting to think I must have switched off them, because I remember I took so much fucking damage. You know, once you get really close, you take a lot of hits.
Yeah, I like. There's a lot of stuff I like about Moonlighter.
Yeah.
The way you build out your town and like use the other merchants to help you go deeper.
Yes.
All that stuff's really cool.
Yeah,
and I think that
it's got a great style too. The music is great and all that.
Oh, for real. Yeah.
Scott, if you've not heard of Moonlighter, I would definitely put it on your radar too.
Scott is the one.
Oh, okay.
Like, hold on a second. Didn't I thought when he told me he was playing the game, I was like, hold on, didn't you already beat this game?
No, I beat it.
And I was like, oh wait, no, hold on. Alex beat this game. Now I remember.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that makes me so happy. Anything else you've been playing, Tony?
I mean, yeah, but that's all the major stuff.
Okay. Scotty, what about you, man?
Let's see, a lot more Tarkov and League.
Okay.
I'm almost done the hideout in Tarkov.
Okay. Is this like your hideout? Is this a?
Yeah. This is the hideout that they added last wipe. So, yeah, this is the whole Bitcoin farm thing.
Oh, okay. I think you mentioned this last episode.
Yeah. So, a massive drawback in having your hideout is having a traders leveled, and having a traders leveled requires you to be a high level.
Yeah, and you have to do those quests, right?
So if you're not level like 30, then your traders will not go to the next tier.
Oh.
no matter how much rep or money you have with them.
And is
And
it
that's basically where I'm at.
do the quests you do for them? Does that just get your rep up, or does that get your level up as well?
It depends on the quest. It can do a little bit of everything.
Okay.
The quests don't help you with the money aspect of it,
Yeah.
but
So you're just grinding
yeah,
at this point.
there's basically.
That's a lot. I get it. How close are you?
If I had to put it in rubles, I'm about 15 million rubles away,
Okay.
but that is almost all in graphics cards at this point because at this point in time, graphics cards are almost 600K.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think I have
Well,
10. Yeah, I think I have about 10 already. So
You should be able to make that, right? No.
you need 50.
You need 50. Yeah. You
So
need more.
I'm expecting that by the time I get there, which will be maybe another 2 weeks, that they'll come down to closer to 400. Because I think they were at about 300. They spiked up to 600, and I think it's just people are at that point, and some people are just buying them all up as soon as they can.
So there's a piece of loot in Tarkov that's a graphics card?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Tarkov has a lot of like real life stuff.
Okay. I remember there was like hard drives or something you guys kept talking about.
There's
Yeah,
hard drives, there's DVD drives. You can pick up the wires out of the
you get
computer.
CPU fans and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I like that is contraband also, like graphics card. You only sell this on the black market.
Well, the idea is like the end game money generator is just a Bitcoin farm.
Yeah.
So you're collecting 50 graphics cards to farm your Bitcoins.
That's awesome. It's Tarkov is weirdly meta.
Yeah.
It's weirdly real to life.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else on League? Did you climb the ladder, Scott?
Only a little bit.
Okay. Where'd you get to?
I'm doing the thing that I normally do, where it's I'm playing League, but I'm generally not on while anybody else is on. And if I'm going solo, I'm going into ranked because what you end up finding in a lot of normals, near my ELO is you'll find a lot of people not trying.
Yeah, just trolling.
Very visibly so. And yeah, you can call it trolling. It's not too far off, but it's more or less like they're playing like they're on a character they've never played before.
Got it.
But if you look at their history, they've definitely played the character before. They're just really bad at that character, and they don't. It's like they haven't come to terms with the fact that they're bad at that character.
I'd like to think of it. That's where the people who've been broken by League of Legends go. they play ranked until they're broken, and then they're just like zombies walking around in normal matches. Yeah, I feel like that's like when I would play Overwatch. Different thing, obviously, but I would play ranked just because I feel like people are gonna at least try and play a little bit more in those games.
Right now, I'm at the point where it's like, yeah, I'll play. I'll do a similar thing, where I'll take champs that I'm not very good at, and I'll play them in normal because some champs that I'm not good at are pretty fun to play. But most of the champs that I like to play on the regular, I'm pretty good at.
Okay.
At this.
What do you?
So there's no point in picking up an old match.
Where'd you get to in ranked? Where are you at now?
Gold 3.
That's pretty good. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's 2 leagues below where Tony is right now.
Hell yeah. Anything else you played this week, Scott?
Which means Scott and I can't play ranked together anymore.
Oh no, because it's what's 2 is the biggest it can be, right?
You can only play with one division below you.
Okay, so like it would be what plat 1?
And then it's still like a bad idea to do that.
Yeah.
Because even if, let's say that I play like a diamond player, they are going to stick essentially an all diamond team on the other side. But on our side, we are going to probably drag another gold player with us.
Yeah. And that person's not having any fun.
And then at that point, it's a toss up as to where they belong there or not. in a good chunk of the time, the answer is no.
Yeah.
So it's now this can happen to your side as well, but 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work out in your favor.
Yeah. I that would anytime I would play any ranked games, that would also happen to me. I would just be in with higher ranked people and then just not have a fun time.
Not necessarily. If you play, if you played enough games, it would eventually you'd find yourself in the correct elo,
Yeah.
and then you'd be playing with people that are at your skill level.
Yeah, it's always worrisome, like the balance of that, where how long do I have to play to get there? Is it too long? And I think if narrowing that down, where it's still challenging, right? But if you're losing and losing for 10 games, people might just bounce off and never come back.
I'm not sure. I didn't used to pay attention to it, but at this point in time, it is 20 games
Okay.
away from the center. So it's 20 games and away from the center. So the center is, I want to say, silver 4. So at any time that you're hitting at your average skill level is silver 4, that ranked is not fun because that is where people start. You will get matched with people who are unranked.
Huh.
And even then, for people who don't have a decent history but roughly belong in high silvers, like very much so, or and basically any rank a few subdivisions above that starting point, you'll get matched with them anyway, and it'll be a curb stomp match.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always about.
I would know because I did it pretty much up until gold,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't feel good about this. But that was mostly over after the first 10 matches, and then the next 10 were effectively me fighting these into gold, which went much more even.
Yeah.
I think that Riot has figured out a lot of that stuff as far as like new accounts go, and figuring out, trying to get you to the elo that you're supposed to be in quicker. Like when I started playing ranked this league, I was in silver like 2 or something when I first started doing my my placements. And I played, it only took me like 20 games to get from silver 2 or like low silver 1 or something up to platinum 1, which is like, to platinum 3 or 4 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it was a bunch more games to fight through platinum and then into diamond. But getting past, those games where I was basically just 1v9ing every single game, it didn't take very long at all. I think that very quickly Riots will figure out that you are performing at a magnitude level much higher than the rest of the game, and for many games in a row, and they let you actually skip promotions when you get to that point. So like you'll get to 100 league points, and then instead of having to win a 2 out of 3 or a 3 out of 3, a 3 out of 5 to promote, it'll just put you in the next league. Sometimes you even skip a division, so you'll go from like gold 4 to gold 2 because the game knows that you don't need to fight through that.
That's good.
So it works the same going down too. It's a little bit more forgiving on losses. You have to lose quite a few games at silver 4 to get demoted to bronze 1. But eventually it filters all that stuff out. And another thing is for new accounts, I have a new account that I leveled up just to play with friends that didn't want to play with diamond elo people. I've been working on it for a couple months off and on, just leveling it up to get it to level 30. So if people want to play flex or whatever, I can play every game mode. That account, with despite my best efforts, still gets matched when I solo queued on it to try and finish getting to level 30 because I'm level 29 and like 80%. I still got matched with like high platinum players on my Smurf account at level 29.
They hunted you down.
It figures you out pretty quick.
That's cool. I remember that was like way more a problem years and years and years ago. Of like, we're fighting Smurfs. This is so annoying type deal.
Yeah. Nowadays, actually finding an Iron 4 account with Iron 4 MMR is very rare, and those accounts are pretty expensive.
Oh wow.
If you wanted to buy an account, an Iron 4 account is more expensive than like a gold account or something like that.
That's crazy. Of course, people buy League of Legends accounts. What am I thinking?
Well, I mean, it's like $6 to buy a level 30 account on North American servers because it's all botted.
Yeah. Okay.
People just they just do co-op versus AI and like on their other computer all day with a bot, and will level up accounts that way and sell them for $6 to people who don't want to level up to level 30. I had to level up to level 30. That shit sucks. It's so many games for that you're just throwing away your time.
Yeah.
So I totally get it.
Yeah, it's part of why I bounced off a little bit of League of Legends. I think I got to like level 10.
Yeah, I also at the beginning, like the first like 12 levels, they have all of like your shit locked.
Yeah,
like you can't use the summoner spells that everyone uses.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like you're sitting there like, why am I being handicapped? I'm new. Please help.
I would like look up builds and I would see like, oh, use this spell.
I can't use this.
I can't use it.
I can't even make my own runes.
to an extent.
Yeah.
It's like for people, let's say like Alex are going in, Flash is difficult to deal with.
Yeah, but why would you
like,
make it so they can't even use it?
Locking people out of locking the entire game out of Flash, probably a good idea.
Yeah, but like not
like,
for
but
12
they're
levels.
so used to it. But like, I do remember when I started, it's like, all the nuances of Flash were a bit much to learn, but everybody we're facing against already fucking had it down pat.
Yeah,
so you were pretty much, because you didn't know how to use it right, and weren't quite expecting it for the next 15 to 20 games, until you actually came up against somebody who also didn't know how to use it that well.
Yeah. It comes from a good place.
You're kind of screwed.
It's just frustrating.
Most of the other things, like the runes, no, that should be unlocked completely uncapped level 1.
Yeah.
Because it's at that point, it's not that you're learning. It's not that it's an extra mechanic that's difficult to deal with. It is that you are learning very specifically, the wrong level of power of every character.
Yeah. It's weird.
So when they do get looked up every level, you are shaken up every level.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing.
And it's hard to tell why.
Now that like you can't, there's no way to like jump in the league and just go right to max. Do you think they would ever do that? Probably not. Right?
What, like start at a high level?
Yeah, like if you wanted to, you could just pay Riot $5 and go to 30.
I mean, it would be useful.
Yeah, I think it would
for me.
It would be nice.
But
just to unlock all.
I don't know if that's. I think that they would sooner just try and overhaul the new player experience, which they have done in the past. To what extent they actually are successful at doing that, who knows?
Yeah.
But that yeah.
Totally. Anything else you've been playing this week, Scott?
I'm doing some more Graveyard Keeper.
Oh, nice. I guess this weekend, last week.
The game is good.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. To be perfectly honest, like I'm trying to get quests done. I think I just got one of Snake's quests done.
Yeah.
But apparently I need to go fishing because I can't buy silver level fish. I don't want to do that, so I'm just not doing that.
I think you can.
You can buy fish.
Buy a silver level fish. I don't remember what vendor it is, but there's a certain vendor that you can buy that shit from. Because I also did not fish.
Yeah, I didn't either. It sucks. Also,
I just checked the fishing vendor, and he's at tier 1 for me. And in order to get anything silver from him, I'm not sure if it was fish or not. Probably it was fish.
Yeah.
But could have also been a fishing rod.
Maybe. The barkeep might sell fish for the. It's like the.
Yeah, I think it might be the barkeep will sell you that at level 2.
He'll sell you the fillets. I think.
No, it's the traveling merchant guy. He'll sell it.
Oh yeah, yes.
If I remember correctly.
And he's there on like Tuesdays or whatever, on Merchant Day. I forgot they don't have. They're just like different symbols.
Right.
Yeah, like the way, because I had the same reaction. I'm not. Obviously, you'll figure out, Scott. I trusted you, but this, to my experience, like when I first, because I restarted it, and I remember I told you, Tony, and you were surprised. Like I like bumbled around. I feel like I fucked everything up for like 2 weeks, and then I restarted it of like, okay, this day is where I can activate the quest with this character, right? And it's always like each day correlates to a specific character, but also other things that can happen along the way. And every time it's like, okay, I'm gonna build until the next faith day where I can have the guy who comes over to the church or whatever, the priest and stuff, and I'll work on his quest. I'm gonna focus on that.
Prayer on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you get into routines of like, okay, it's this day, so I have to go get prayer so I can keep leveling up my sciences and stuff, like, or faith.
Go do the prayer so I can make more fucking zombies.
Yeah, exactly. So I can make these Zambos that'll do all my work for me. But yeah, it just takes some getting used to. Like figuring out where everything is was weird. I really like that they build up that there's like a town to the south, and you just never go there. Also, I
think I bought like a thing that would let me go.
Yeah,
there.
I think the expansion.
Can I not actually go there?
I think the expansion lets you go there because that's where.
Okay.
Where
so I was thinking about that. I didn't end up like I kind of stopped playing that game right before I was able to do that.
Mm-hmm. In the original game,
though, like I definitely will go back and do the tavern and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In the original game, I think the only bit was that you go there once and you're struck by lightning, and then it's over. It's like, I guess you can never go there. And you can like buy a town pass, like from, you can like order stuff from the church once you're like a citizen. You can buy a pass to the town, and
yeah. I bought all that shit.
You can never go there. It's really fun.
Yeah, I think it's required for one of his quests or something.
Yeah, you need a town pass for us
for him to authorize some self-righteous bullshit.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool game.
Super cool.
It's a very
I didn't get to
game.
do any of the tavern stuff. I really want to.
Yeah, I want to check that stuff out too. I wonder if I can load up my Xbox save.
I wanna sell people beer made out of people.
That's what the twist is. The zombies
that's
are making
that's
beer.
basically what you do when you give people food, because you're making food out of like shit out of flesh that is literally human flesh.
Yep.
And when you make like cabbage slug, dude.
Yeah.
Made out of human salt.
When you make burgers, it's literally human flesh and fat mixed together to make the burger.
Yep.
So like, yeah, you're kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
So I would like to see what that means when it comes to
drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me just put this corpse in this big barrel, and then I'll come back and there's beer later. I don't know how this works, but I'll think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. Anything else, Scott?
No, that's pretty much it.
Cool. I played over the last couple of weeks. I played a couple of things. I definitely forgot stuff on this list, but it doesn't really matter. The big one, though, I finally went and finished Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nice.
Which
the
was
original one?
The original one, yeah.
Nice.
I haven't played the DLC at all. I think I started it, but yeah, I like the obviously.
I know that game's kind of weird, eh?
That game's weird. It's
got a weird story.
It's got a weird story. It's cool though. I like it a lot. I just love playing that game. It's so fun. And I really liked Aloy by the end of it. Right, like she really won me over. And I don't know if it's true. It seemed like maybe how she kind of generally talks to people changes based on the dialogue selections that you make.
I don't know.
Yeah, it felt like it, but I don't know that for sure because I chose like the brain and the heart option a lot, and it felt like that was kind of tonally where she was in the points and scenes where I didn't kind of get to choose anything. But yeah, it was the PS5 conference. They announced the Forbidden West, the sequel, and I was like, I really should go finish that game. It's like, we talked a little bit before the podcast of I'm kind of just really exhausted with Sony first party games, and this one kind of feels still outside of that to me. It kind of like Ratchet and Clank, where it's like a little bit more colorful. It's a little bit more fun. It's the gameplay is way tighter, I think, yeah, I'm really glad I went and finished it. It's funny because that trailer for Forbidden West has Lance Reddick's character in it, Silence, and I was like, Lance Reddick's in this game? Like, is he like a character in the sequel or something? It seems like they're showing him and people know who he is. And so I played the first hour when I got back, and I just picked up where I had left off earlier this year. I tried to start it again. I was about like 14 hours in. And like the next mission I did, I met Silence. I was like, oh shit. Well, okay, there we go. But yeah, going through, I guess I was like, I'd not quite. No, in this most recent playthrough, I'd gotten to the city. There's like a big city area that's really cool. The way the buildings look in that game, the way the technology that they've built works.
You talking about the one that's got like that little elevator off to the side?
Yeah.
You have to go on like 13 times. That's like the one thing I remember about that city.
Yeah, it's like, why is this elevator so long and slow? It's weird.
Yeah, it's like it should go at least twice as fast.
Yeah, it really should. But it sounds super rickety. Like if I was there in person, I'd be like, I don't know how I feel about this.
I mean, if you're there in person, you are a hardened mechanical dragon dinosaur warrior.
Yeah, true.
So I think you'd probably be all right.
I'd probably be like that dude that gets shot off in the second, like very early on. It's like, oh my god, there are monsters here, and then he gets shot. Demons.
Imagine my entire world being the same as it was before, but now it's surprising.
Exactly. Yeah, I like going back and kind of having a little bit of space with it. It is cool, especially getting some of like the later game tools, like the later weapons. And I just mostly use the bows because they're the best, but there's some cool traps and things that you get toward the end, and the weapons that you can, like the heavy ones that you pick up and carry and use to shoot off enemies. Like I hadn't fought a Thunderjaw yet in that game. I hadn't fought the birds. I forget what they might be, Thunderbirds or whatever. Or the
I know what you're talking about.
The guys that burrow underground and jump up out of the ground, which are
there's like when you go from like the small area of the map where you start into the big area, like the big open area of the map. If you go like straight through the middle, there's this little like ridged section where there's like a road and then a raised little like grassy area next to it. You can farm those guys there, those like dragon dudes or whatever.
Yeah,
I remember fighting like 10 to 12 of them there. The shit was fucking crazy.
Nice. Yeah, so there was a lot of fights that I hadn't seen and stuff that was really intense that I hadn't done yet. It was really fun. So just going back to it, finally finishing it, just like really focusing on because a big part of the problem of when I played last, I just did side quests. I didn't do any of the main story missions really. So actually doing those story missions, meeting the characters, kind of having that rapport with them, seeing them all kind of come together at the end too, which was really cool. Yeah, it's a great game, and I'm super stoked to see more of that game. Like I really want to see if they're going to give you more weapons, if they're going to kind of make it more vertical, or give you more tools to kind of get you up and about when you're fighting the different robots and machines, and just more machines, like different new machines that they will come up with, I'm sure, because that trailer had like actual pterodactyl machines in it, which were really super cool to see. So yeah, I'm just stoked for more Horizon now. And I guess I want to go back and I want to play the DLC. I've heard that I guess what's it called, the Frozen Wilds, the facial animation stuff for that is a lot better. And to be fair, it's not terrible in the original game. There's just some people that are like have not match up mouth movements. That is weird, but it's only a few and far between. But that was a huge chunk of my time 2 weeks ago. Played Last of Us Part 2. I finished it on Sunday, so a week ago today. And like I said, I sat down with Logan to talk about it. Generally, like, you know, I'm somewhere in the middle, you know, like I don't hate it, I don't love it. I you know, there's a lot of we talked, like Scott, Tony, and I talked in a spoiler kind of way before, and I don't want to spoil anything. It's just it's frustrating that they made a game that's really hard to talk about without ruining anything for anybody, or taking.
Well, the best way to put it, I would say I'd say the game's a solid 6 or 7.
That's exactly what Jared said.
And then it's 6 and 7s are those games where it's hey, these games aren't for everybody. If you like these kinds of games, it's gonna be, you know.
Yeah, you'll be into it. If you don't,
you'll be very into it. The big caveat with this one is, you might like these kinds of games, but you have to also be on it for all of the story beats too.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people.
The gameplay is serviceable to the story. It's not terrible, but it's not the reason to keep going through the game.
And then if you don't care about the story, then you're not going to have a reason to go through the game.
Right.
I it's been cool to see a lot of people have different reactions to it, and I think that's cool. I wish I wish I enjoyed my time with it more. I wish I had I wish it left as meaningful an impact on me as it has with some people. I'm glad that it did, but it didn't for me. I think a big part of it, especially when I went back and played through the first game and talked with Nabashin about it, I feel differently about that game too, and I feel kind of differently about these more very linear, very narrative-driven games now than I did before. And it's funny because Persona 5, which is in a lot of ways it presented in a really different way. But I've realized I like the way that those things are presented. I think how you spend your time and how those are introduced to the player are really important to me. And I like the minimal choice, if any, that games like RPGs that give you. So yeah, I don't know. It's the kind of spoiler conversation. I think I talk more about how I feel about more specific story beats. But overall, I enjoyed playing it. It's a very tense game. The gameplay is very rewarding. It's a very soul-sucking story, and I felt very blah afterwards, emotionally, for better and for worse. But
yeah, certainly one of those kind of stories.
yeah. So I'm curious. Nabashin's gonna be on next week. Hopefully, I'm curious what his non-spoiler surface level thoughts are. I was curious to hear what you guys thought of it, and I'm curious if it's gonna be one of the ones. It reminds me a lot of Red Dead 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, of the people that are going to go to bat for this game are going to go bat for this game pretty hard in Game of the Year and stuff like that. And as in a similar way to God of War 2 years ago, I'm not one of them for once. So now I'm just going to sit back and see what people get into screaming matches about with this.
Hell yeah.
Well, hold on. I would say the reason that this one is, because I'd say it's this game being a 6 or a 7 shouldn't be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like it is, and I think that's because it's much harder for those people who do like it to go to bat for it, because it does so much against itself.
Interesting.
I think that's the big deal here, because 6 and 7s come out all the time, and it's
yeah.
fine.
Why is everyone going to talk about this one?
Nobody cares.
Yeah, but everyone cares because this is a big AAA game. It's a Sony first party game. It's a Naughty Dog game. It's all the things around it.
I think a good portion of it is, I was looking up what happened at The Last of Us 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people missed this, but the full spoilers
For Last of Us 1.
Yeah. So,
Hi, Nabashin.
Full spoilers at the end of Last of Us 1.
You came in at a spot.
Over the fireflies.
Mm-hmm.
You figure out that she's going to die to try and help them create they literally have to kill her. I'll put that in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
Have to. But in order to try and make a cure. Well, as it turns out, I'm pretty sure that Joel finds out. I don't think they directly tell him.
They tell him.
He finds out that they've done this before.
They
tell him?
They tell him that what they have to do with Ellie, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then that's what sets him off on killing them, ravaging them, and then the ending of that game. Hi, Nabashin.
Hello.
Welcome aboard. Welcome to the podcast.
I do believe that you also find out that it happens to other people before Ellie.
No, that's the lie that Joel tells Ellie to make her think that it was all for nothing.
Okay, never mind then.
Yep. How are you doing, Nabashin?
Oh, I don't know, man.
You finished.
I wasn't playing.
Finished The Last of Us after 20 years.
Are we talking about that now?
You're actually right in the middle of my Last of Us 2 conversation, which I was about wrapped up on it.
Oh, I thought you were asking about myself. I didn't mean
I did. I was filling air, so that way you could collect your thoughts and then throw it at me. Yeah, you weren't sure you were gonna come on.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure, but then I was just like, yeah, like I think I'll be okay.
All right, you're obviously welcome to join us. You finished The Last of Us this week. Do you have any non-spoiler thoughts that you wanted to share, or are you still kind of processing stuff?
No, I feel like I got my general thoughts of how I feel about the game.
Okay. Do you want to share, or keep them to the chest?
I don't mind sharing. Because I talked to a lot of people about it. I talked to you, talked to Katie, talked to Nicole about it. So, I got a general feeling like how I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the game a lot. I think the game is a very well-made game that I would say about the last 2 or 3 hours of it, I was just pretty much saying I'm done as far as like playing this, as far as like the emergent bullshit with it. And then I was just like, I'm just running through like almost every encounter, which I did, and it worked out. So that's kind of how that played out.
Game is too long.
It's too long.
Bruh, is very long.
It's too long.
It's so long. And I texted Jarrett like him and we had a meeting this week, and afterwards I was like, can we just talk about this for a little bit? And we talked for like 15 minutes, and we just for like 2 minutes we're like, it's too long. It's too back and forth.
It's like the one thing that everyone who has experienced Last of Us 2 can across the board completely agree on. Game was too fucking long.
Yeah, I've gotten I've seen a lot of too long sentiment.
Like I've seen a lot of bruh online. Like there's like just the word bruh, and you immediately know what it means.
Yep.
And I said to my best friend, she immediately knew what I mean. I said to Alex, he immediately
I
knew what I mean.
immediately knew what's up.
Just bruh.
This
Like
game.
come on.
Yeah. We get it, all right? We get. Yeah.
But it's weird though, right? Because it's like it's hard to say like the stuff wasn't necessary. In a way, like sure you could cut off certain perks, sure you could cut off like half of the other half of the game or whatever, because like you're kind of retreading some things, but like at the same time, I feel like that is necessary. Then you know, it's like this is one of those things where it's like, is this like a Kojima thing where it's like, oh, just get yourself an editor and like you can make this more compact and more concise and still get the same message across, or do you actually need this stuff? Some people agree that you would, some people said you wouldn't. Like for me personally, like I think the game is fine the way it is, and like it could be too long, and that's fine if it's too long.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't necessarily mean I have to enjoy that, and you know, like that's a critique of mine. But it doesn't like diminish how I think the game is still really good for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Will I ever play it again? Probably not.
Yeah, that's
it's kind of been a Red Dead 2 situation for me, where it's like
That's
Where's-
hold on.
yes, guys.
We're not just brushing past that.
Okay.
I had the same reaction.
We cannot just brush past that.
Mhm.
You two are the kings of playing games twice.
Yeah, I had
Sure.
I had the same feeling too, Nabashin, of like, I don't know if I ever want to play that again. But I'm sitting at my roommate Damien, and he's playing through it, and we're playing like once every weekend, pretty much. And so I'm watching him play through it. He's one of very few games similar to Red Dead 2. That's the third Red Dead 2 drop. He likes this kind of stuff. He likes these movie-like games and stuff like that. And he likes the Infected. That's like his big thing. He's like, when am I gonna fight Infected? And then we just fought a whole bunch. He's like, I'm good now. And I was like, oh, don't worry, you just getting started. He's like, for your point of reference, Nabashin, or I guess for all of you, because you all know, we're still very much in Seattle day one in that like open world area. So pretty early, like maybe 5 hours in.
I think the open world stuff was some of the best stuff in that game.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. It's weird that there's just like one part of it and then it never comes up again. But it feels like them, Naughty Dog, one-upping themselves from Lost Legacy to some extent.
I mean, Lost Legacy was pretty much the open world almost the entire time, other than the opening. So
yeah,
it's a weird thing.
It's a weird thing, yeah. But yeah, it's interesting to hear, like, going through it again of like, yeah, seeing somebody else play it is cool, But yeah, I don't know if I would want to play it again.
But like when I say that though, it's not like because like I dislike the game or something like that, but like it takes a lot out of me to play something like that again. Because it's weird. Like I could totally see myself seeing myself playing the original Last of Us again, but like I still feel like this is a better game than that overall. As far as like not really as far as gameplay, because I think gameplay is played better in this one than in the first one. Like I told you, Alex, because like there's no discernible reason why. I feel like it's almost exactly the same, but like there's like little touches here and there that like
prone is a big factor, I think, for me, honestly.
Sure. And like but there's certain factors that like makes you feel like I can play this a little bit better into the 10 and 1. But like the characters, the story, like everything is just better into as far as like that. One is because I'm thinking about it now, like as far as like how I feel about one compared to this one. Like I guess I didn't really think about it till just now, but like the first Last of Us is like it's something I really like, but like I still would put this above this in almost every aspect.
Yeah, we were talking about just before you came on, like the sentiment that we felt theorizing wise of like if you really connected and liked one, that you wouldn't like two as much, and if you didn't like one or you were more neutral on it, and that's why I was curious what you would feel about it, because I know you were more neutral on one. You liked it, but you weren't one of the people saying it's one of your favorite games of all time.
It is one of my favorite games.
Okay. Of all time. But you know, at the time, not as hot on it as I was, right? So that's my point of reference.
I mean, I'll pat your back for it.
Okay.
For the most part.
Yeah. I don't feel the same. Yeah, I like the first one more, I think. So.
Sure. But yeah, it's like I said, it's very similar to like Red Dead 2 for me. Not in the same ways though. I know I contradict myself or whatever.
No, you're fine.
Because like with Red Dead, it felt like the systems were getting in the way. The quote unquote realism of Red Dead 2 was the thing that was getting in the way for the stuff that most people, and even me for some extent, like what I really enjoyed about the first Red Dead. Because like Red Dead 2, like this, I think the story is phenomenal. I think the characters are phenomenal. I think the world is very phenomenal. But it's like the minutia of the game, the guts of the game, the gameplay loop of the game. Like that wasn't the most spectacular thing. It was because like it's like a little bit too much. It's like it's one or two or three things too much to do like a simple thing.
Yeah,
that type of thing. That was the issue with Red Dead 2. With Last of Us 2, it probably literally just is the length.
Yeah,
or at least it's a feeling of the length. Like I can't tell you. Like probably the Last of Us one something like what 15 hours to beat maybe.
Sure.
And like I played long games before. I played fucking RPGs longer than The Last of Us 2. But I think I think the difference is for something like compared to like something like The Witcher 3 or something like that, is like this is constantly telling you something, and it doesn't stop telling you something for almost 30 hours. Where with The Witcher, you're like you can say fuck it and just like do something else in the meantime, so you can like rejuvenate yourself, then go back to the story any way you want to. I guess that's why the open world section in Seattle was so good for a lot of people, including myself. You took your own time, you just played it the way you want to play it, and it's like, you let the story come to you by the way that you discover why you play that game. But with this game, is like it's constantly, it's literally a story. It's literally a 30-hour story that it just tell you like constantly.
Yeah.
And like the reason why I wanted to get through it so fast is because like it's a big game. I'm really into it. I don't want like anyone's not really influence, but like anyone's discussion about like to influence my thoughts on it. And like me coming in at the end of it, other than like one of my best friend Kate, obviously we were playing it literally at the same time. With the both of us playing it, and like we both really enjoyed it. our time with it. I love my time with it. Like, yeah, I truly do like this game a lot. Yeah, I'm done talking about it.
Okay. Yeah, you are the most positive out of all three of us about it. So, yeah, that's good to hear. I'm curious to hear your spoiler thoughts on things and moments. But that is a conversation for another day, I'm sure. Anything else you played this week, Nomishin? Or these last 2 weeks?
Nothing really of consequence. I beat Bloodborne. I never mentioned that.
Oh yeah, that was you texted that to us.
That was like 3 weeks ago or something like that.
Welcome to the family. Now we are all Bloodborne.
Yeah.
As soon as Bloodborne 2 is announced, are you gonna be there?
Yeah.
Cool. Hell yeah.
I love Bloodborne. I never not loved Bloodborne. This is more of there's always this time and place, and like that's definitely a game I would never stream type of thing. That was just like something I just want to like play with myself, discover myself, and like get the most of it out of it myself, and just like this was out of a nowhere thing. It was just like I just felt like playing it, and then I beat it because like I realized I remember why I stopped. It's because I didn't have the last umbilical cord.
Yeah.
Because I had 2/3 of it. I just needed one more third. I didn't have the last one, so that was depressing. I didn't play for like a year. I just went back to it, and it's like, oh, let me just beat it, and I did, and it's like, okay.
I love that so much. I like because I would totally do the same thing. I'm like, fuck, I fucked this up. Fuck this game, and then come back later like, oh shit, I like this game. Like I don't remember what my problem was. Did you have a favorite boss fight from it? I know it's been a while. It was broken up over a long time, so you might not necessarily remember the earlier ones, but I don't know if anything stood out enough for you to remember.
No, I don't really have like a boss fight. I just the thing I like about Bloodborne is just I think the atmosphere is probably the best in gaming. Like the moment I think is really good too. The way they want you to play more offensively than defensively. They encourage you to do that even. I just really enjoy just for that. Like, and like, sure, like the story's like above my head, and like it's not even something I'm really even curious to like even like explore and like know more about. But I can tell there's like something like deeper in there, which I really appreciate and like really enjoy. As far as like there's fucking aliens in that game. Like, why are there aliens in there? We're like, okay, but like it's super cool. It's cool shit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're cool. It's that's like the beauty of Victorian meets like Cthulhu shit. Of just like aliens are here now. Yeah, aliens are here. They came from a different dimension, I guess, or the dark void of space, and they're terrible. And we're drinking their blood because why not? Seems like a good idea.
I will say, as far as bosses, like the wheelchair hunter guy was surprisingly easy. Yeah, he was surprisingly easy. Not that like I didn't die a couple times. I did die a couple times, but like it's like, oh, I know how to beat you. It doesn't matter just me doing it the right way, and then it's like I can beat you. But it's like I didn't think it'd be that easy compared to like everything else. Like weirdly enough, when I went back to that game, I didn't realize how much I leveled up compared to like because I did the I guess the nurse boss right before that, like the
Margot's wet nurse, I think is her name.
I guess the one with like a bunch of knives at the same time, and like I beat that in one try. Like I didn't even like die against her. I'm like, oh okay, well this was I didn't realize how strong I was at that point.
Weirdly, there's a lot of those last fights are not the hardest fights in the game. Also, like Margot is not bad. Gehrman's not bad, and then if you fight the blood thing, the Blood Moon Echo or whatever, that's also not hard at all. So.
It's always the chalice dungeons, boys.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tony knows.
You can also get super hard when you skip everything.
Thumerian chalice dungeon.
This is true.
Where you have half health the whole time and it's miserable. Yeah, there's some tougher fights.
I didn't know where the old hunter stuff was, and now that I'm in New Game Plus and I played a little bit of that, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's even a good idea to like just go straight into that because that doesn't make sense to me because I know I'm going to be so underleveled for that. So I was like, I guess I'll try to somewhat beat the game again, and before I bite the last thing again, I'll go to the old hunter stuff and try that out. Even though that's going to be way harder now than it should have been. So it's like crap, but oh well.
You still only using the saw cleaver?
I explored a little bit more.
Ooh.
I tried different ones.
Okay. A little bit of that burial blade.
That's different for you now, since I'm proud of you for that.
Yeah, Tony encouraged me by ridiculing me, so I did it.
Of course.
I mean,
I tried to make it a nice thing.
That's how I operate, and y'all already know that.
Oh, I know, man. I love you for it. But yeah, I people keep talking about the Kurt hammer, so I tried that out. I like that a lot.
You have you tried the burial blade?
I haven't tried it yet. No.
Which one is the burial
Is that
blade?
the
Fucking burial blade, dude. Best item in the fucking game, dude.
Okay, I'll try it out.
That's good.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. That's the scythe one.
Yeah, it's the one you get from when you beat Gehrman.
Yeah, the Kurt hammer and double sword are my favorite. I forget what it's called.
Oh yeah, the twin cleaver things. Yeah.
No.
The one from the DLC.
No. There's a big sword and then there's a smaller sword inside the big sword.
Oh yeah. Okay. The Logarius's holy sword, I think is what it is.
Something like that.
Yeah,
And it's like
the hammer with a sword in it. Yeah.
Kirk Hammer's dope.
that's
Yeah, Kirk Hammer's good.
That Kirk hammer, and then it's what? I'm gonna make my big sword into a straight sword.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Because I'm a sword boy.
so many cool weapons in that game. That's awesome, man. I'm excited to know that you're playing the DLC too.
Yeah, when you get to it. By the way, Blade of Mercy, also really fucking good.
Yes, that's the one I was
That's
thinking.
the double swords.
Yes.
And if you can get the Rakuyo in the DLC,
oh yeah.
If you do the shit to get that sword, try that sword. It's fucking lit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go there right away, but like, how do you even get to there? As far as the DLC, because I don't.
It's been a long time. I think it's a very specific person you give a specific thing to, and they're like, "You want to go to this place? All right, here you go."
After you have beaten Vacuous Rom, and the blood moon rises, so you see the big red moon in the sky. There are these things, like the big amygdala things that grab you. There's one. There's one in the graveyard. Kind of off to the side, and if you go up to it and let it grab you, after that point, it will warp you to the old hunter's dream in the DLC.
Okay.
It's a little obtuse, but
when you get to the fishing village, go to the bottom of the well.
Go to the bottom of the well. You'll have a miserable time, but
and die 3 billion times.
3 billion times. But you'll get a cool sword at the end of it, a cool weapon at the end of it.
It's like you get swallowed whole.
Yep. Oh my god, those shark dudes, dude. Ugh. Just triggered me now, I'm so pissed. Just get up, just leave the podcast.
Such a fucking dope game.
Yeah, what a dope game. That whole the whole fishing village just like is apparently it's a reference to a very specific novel in that weird Cthulhu space. I forget what it's called. And it's really cool. Justin was actually the one that told me when I played through with Justin. When we went to that fishing village, he was like, "This is a reference to this book," and I really want to read that book now because apparently, like, fish people and mer people and all that, like, is very specifically of all that realm. And that was like the one. Even though Bloodborne is like Victorian style, it doesn't necessarily visually take a lot from that. But that area, that fishing village in the DLC, is very much a direct reference to it, which is really cool that they added that afterwards. Anything else you played in Option?
A bunch of PC stuff.
Hell yeah, dude! You get that Itch.io bundle?
I did actually.
Yeah, I know. They're the only one in there that I need to force myself to play at some point. I don't know if I can on my computer, but is a short hike. I really want to check that out. Cool. Anything else? Any other video games?
Nothing much we're talking about, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because you came in when I was talking about Last of Us 2. I don't think I played anything else. I'm in that same weird spot where, okay, I've gotten through the stuff I want to get through. I beat Horizon Zero Dawn. I think I might have told you about that. No, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You did.
And the next like backlog game I'd like to check off is Uncharted Lost Legacy, because I have it downloaded. For me, it was I want to give it a little bit of space between finishing The Last of Us and playing that. But
You don't really need to. They're different enough, and I think that one's very, very good.
yeah, I've forgotten how Uncharted plays almost, so I forget if it's super similar or not. But yeah, that's one that I definitely want to knock off the list. But I've also been playing a lot of Sony first party type games, and some of them tend to be very similar for me. So now it's just on to waiting for Ghost of Tsushima. But I replayed a bunch of stuff that's just it's my dumb PC garbage of. I could tell you why I couldn't tell you why I'm replaying Okami again, but I'm doing it, and here we are. I could tell you why in the last week, because they put Kingdom Hearts on Game Pass. I downloaded it and actually rebeat Kingdom Hearts 1 again, 100% completion, all of Jiminy's Journal this week. I put 52 hours into that game again. I don't know why I do this shit, y'all. I just do it, and this is what makes me happy. So, at the end of the day, that's where we're at.
It's good comfort food, man.
It is good comfort food. That first Kingdom Hearts game is real good comfort food.
Like
Except for the gummy shit.
Except for the gummy shit.
Like I've been finding myself playing the Mega Man X collection again. Playing Mega Man X 1, 2, 3, and 4. Kind of get to get my mind off things, and like it's also just like that. I think that's my comfort game. It's just those 4 X games. They're really, really good.
I had to like talk myself out of replaying Persona 5 Royal again, so it was I looked at myself in the mirror, like, it's either this or Kingdom Hearts, and I was like, why am I doing this?
You gotta play your merciless solo.
I do.
Protagonist
You got me.
playthrough.
I really want to now, because you fucking told me about it, and I was like, oh, that'd be really fun. I had the compendium maxed out. I could just like make some wild personas. Yeah. Anyway, that's video games. I think that's all video games.
Mm-hmm.
There was some news and stuff this week, but we don't have to get into any of that. There's a new Crash Bandicoot game. Anybody excited for Crash Bandicoot 4?
Not really.
Nope. Not
It's something I'll waste my money on.
I will play it. I found myself weirdly kind of excited about it, All right, maybe you don't know, but I'll play that game.
I know you played the other game.
I played the 3 and I was like, I kind of like these. I like these way more than I thought I would. So
Yeah, I was never really all that big on this.
yeah,
I ended up playing the first one quite a bit, but I was always more fond of the Rayman series.
yeah, that's a good series to be more fond of.
And then it wasn't. No, okay. It was a long time ago. It was PS3 era, early PS3 era, where I played Crash Bandicoot 1 again.
Yeah, so like probably
So
2007.
and then so like when the remaster came out, I already had a litmus test for if I was gonna like it or not.
And you didn't.
And I was like, no, just give it a pass. Like it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I did want to for news a little bit, because a bunch of stuff came out about it this week. I want to like gauge everybody's interest in Cyberpunk 2077. It got delayed till November. I think November like 25th or something, or 17th. In that.
Oh,
range.
I'm all in, dude.
Are you all in, Tony? That's what I wanted to hear. Because all the gameplay stuff came out. You're excited for it?
Yeah, I watched a bunch of stuff when they had their like conference-y thingy earlier this week. I watched that.
Yeah, I missed that itself, but I got to see some folks or hear some folks' impressions of it, and it sounds really good.
It looks and sounds pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So.
Did you hear anything, Albert? I don't know how ear to the ground you were this week.
I know there was a gameplay stuff about it, but I didn't look at it. I think that game's like too exposed right now, so like I just need to like get surprised by it.
Yeah, that's fair. Scott, do you have any interest in Cyberpunk?
I didn't before. Like there was a 20-minute gameplay video that dropped.
Yes.
But just showed me different clips of it, and I kind of wasn't in it, to be honest,
Okay.
before that clip came out. But now that I see what it is, it seems very, very close to like a Fallout
Yes.
or a Skyrim type thing.
Yeah, or like a
And,
Deus Ex also is the comparison being thrown around.
right. So it's like, you know what? I wasn't all that into Skyrim because it was too much like Oblivion. I wasn't all that into Fallout because it was too much like, you know, the Fallout 4 because it was a bit too much like Fallout 3. Now, for a lot of people, that's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
Now for this seems like it's one of a different set of those games, different enough to be the next one that I get into.
That's good to hear. That makes me excited because hearing the stuff that I heard, especially like how it's an RPG, how they kind of want you to be able to roll different characters and have different experiences. It's been speaking to like my D&D thoughts lately. Maybe you too, Tony. But yeah, it seemed like a kind of almost like, I don't want to say it seems kind of pigeonholing, but it seemed like a PC game, and it seemed like something you two would be into. So that's good to hear. Tony, this is more specifically for you. I guess, Scott, you might be into it too. But did you see the Baldur's Gate 3 stuff?
I did not.
Okay. I would just put that on your radar just again as like, you were obviously a fan of Divinity Original Sin 2, I know. And this seems like just that to an even more degree of role-playing and being able to create a custom character and make essentially play a D&D world in a really cool way. So there was another gameplay thing that happened, I think 2 weeks ago for that. But yeah, that's really it. No questions this week, but if you'd like to tweet your questions to us, you can at IrrationalPod with the hashtag IPQ. Or you can send us a voicemail at 404-590-1337. Standard long distance fees do apply. Or you can send us an email, mailsack at irrationalpassions.com is the email address. Some other stuff, you can follow us on Twitter at IrrationalPod. Like mentioned before, that's for everything. I know George is gone now, and I know it's sad, but don't worry, we'll still have fun with the Twitter as much as we can, and uphold the brand that George Cruz upholds in his heart every day. You can follow me and Nabishin on Twitter. Nabishin's at Nabishin186, NABESHIN186, and I'm AlFighter27. Check out our videos on Twitch and YouTube. Just look for Irrational Passions, and rate and review us wherever you listen to, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Google Play or Spotify, whatever you like, and everything else on irrationalpassions.com. We've reached the end of the show. It's time for bets. This week's bet, and I wrote this last week, but I read it and I'm like, this is still good. I still like this. This time next week, what rating out of 5 stars will Pokemon Cafe Mix have on the App Store? So it could be 2.2 or 5 out of 5.
All in. I'm going to start playing that shit. 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. That's what I like to hear, Scott.
I'm going to download it right now.
Scott's going to fucking crunch those numbers up. Nabishin, what do you think?
I just left it a 0-star review.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony.
You're influencing the bet.
So is Scott.
I'm hoping that the Pokemon Legion is big
No,
enough
I'm just playing it.
that we don't have enough say in that. What do you say, Tony?
Dude, I had someone tell me this week with no fucking sarcasm that because I enjoyed the first 3 Pokemon games that I was not a true Pokemon fan. Like, full stop. He was like, you like the first 3? You're not a real Pokemon fan.
Wow, dude. It's usually the opposite. Was this guy like 16?
Yeah. I don't fucking know how.
You haven't played Sun or Moon, bro? You're not real.
He's like, you don't want a Gen 4 remake? You get the fuck out of here.
God, who wants a Diamond and Pearl remake?
That's what I'm saying, dude. I was like, original 150, let's go.
Actually, I know friend of the show, Cam Hawkins, he wants a Diamond and Pearl remake. I feel bad now, but yeah, I don't know. Just remakes Gold and Silver again. Put it on
anyway,
Switch.
the bet.
Yes.
0.
0. Nabishin?
3.2.
I was going to do 2.2. I like that. I have a feeling it might just be messed up or something or broken. I was worried that the first week with those kinds of games is like free-to-play games will be broken. Last week's bet, how many Twitch viewers will The Last of Us Part 2 have this time next week on Twitch? It is not last week on Twitch, but we can see how the fates have played us. I actually don't know what like the peak on that would have been. I should have checked it on Saturday. I would have been someone who cared. I care about those weird things. Viewers low to high. Recommend for you. The Last of Us. 12,000 viewers right now. Which means Scott is actually closest. And that means Scott first win in a little bit. Scott and I are now tied with 3 points. Then after that, Tony has 6 points. Nobishin is still in the lead with 7.
Coming for that ass, Nobishin.
Scott's going to outpay. I bet I'm going to have like 3 points by the whole end of this season. Scott will have 16 or some bullshit. God damn it. That's it. That's the show. Thank you all for listening very much. And thanks for chatting. This was nice, guys. This is a good chill show. Thanks for coming on, Nobishin. I'm glad you felt up to it. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for our opening music of 2-Player Co-op and our closing music of The World is Saved. And be good to each other, everyone. We love you all very much. Play your games. Stay rational. We will talk to you all next week.
Titles?
I tried to be better about titles this time.
Okay. I will be the judge of that.
I mean, they're not good, but I try to be better. You know, better than the worst is still decent, in my opinion.
Yeah. You can't get worse than me, who almost refuses to write anything down.
Just in general, across all of your life.
Just in general.
Scott, can you take notes on that? Go fuck yourself.
We need your name to sign this contract, Scott. You could write it for me.
You just write it in.
All right, so we got the best Diablo item ever, build of builds, worst of the best league, and we all become Bitcoin farmers eventually, and encouragement through embarrassment.
You know,
Is that what?
there's a little bit of tone there, Tony. I get it. They're not the best, but I'm just kidding. I'm just being defensive.
Those are some titles. I think we go with Irrational Passions podcast episode 472. I don't know about you guys.
we did that. We did that one time.
We did that already. And I said then I was like, we can't just keep doing this.
No, here's the thing. We didn't do Irrational Passions podcast episode 472 before. It was a different episode.
It was a different episode number.
No.
I think
you can only have. We had an untitled episode.
Can we have the Untitled Volume 2?
No.
It's the second album.
No.
It's slightly more edgy. Nobishin, weren't you saying something?
What?
Were you saying something that Tony was like, these are some rough titles? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
It's all right. Well, if you had to pick one, Tony, would you pick one of these titles?
Nope.
All right. Scott, if you had to pick one.
Bitcoin farmer.
Okay. We all become Bitcoin farmers eventually. I'm okay with that.
Or the farm itself.
We all become Bitcoin farms eventually. I actually like that a lot. Just a quick little edit. All right. I will say the episode number, and Scott, you can say we all become Bitcoin farms eventually. And that way, Tony, you don't have to be any part of this.
I was already too much a part of it.
I was complicit. You're listening to Irrational Passions podcast episode 472.
We all become Bitcoin farms eventually.
Eventually. That's it. Thank you all so much for watching. We love you all very much. Goodbye.